What if an entire generation lived through the golden age of something and had no idea it was ending? For nearly 2 decades, backyard barbecues weren't just weekend dinners. They were American summer religion. Families gathered every Saturday with sacred rituals that defined suburbia itself. Then one day, without any announcement of farewell ceremony, it all just stopped. Today, those elaborate weekend traditions feel as distant as drive-in movies or milk deliveries. But here's the twist. This wasn't just about changing tastes or evolving technology. The death of America's most beloved summer tradition involved ancient cooking secrets, accidental genius, and a space-age material that promised convenience but delivered something nobody saw coming. So what really happened to those endless summer afternoons? Let's find out. When Cowboys Meet Suburbanites. Long before suburban farmers claimed the title of grill master, indigenous Americans had already perfected barbacoa, slow roasting meat over indirect flames using wooden frames. Spanish explorers stumbled onto this culinary goldmine in the Caribbean, probably while searching for something else entirely. Most great discoveries happened that way. The 1930s brought Americans hauling portable fireboxes to campsites because, apparently, cooking indoors had become too mainstream. Henry Ford, never one to miss a business opportunity, began bundling picnic kits with his Model T cars. Yes, the assembly line revolutionary also wanted to revolutionize weekend hot dog preparation. Nevertheless, the real backyard revolution waited until after World War II. Returning veterans traded overseas adventures for suburban dreams. And those identical tract homes with pristine lawns weren't just housing. They were blank canvases for the American dream. Every canvas needed its centerpiece. Enter George Stephan, a welder who was probably just trying to cook a decent steak without setting his yard ablaze. In 1952, Stephan looked at his frustrating brick barbecue pit, then at the steel buoys he welded for work, and experienced one of those light bulb moments that change everything. He cut a buoy in half, added legs and a dome lid, and accidentally created the most iconic outdoor cooking equipment in American history. Stephan's Weber kettle wasn't just clever, it was revolutionary. That dome shape created convection cooking that brick pits could never match, while vents allowed heat control that would make engineers jealous. Suddenly, backyard grilling evolved beyond throwing meat over a fire and hoping for decent results. But even genius grills need proper fuel, and that's where an unlikely partnership between Henry Ford and Edward Kingsford transformed wood scraps into backyard gold. Ford's Model T production created mountains of wood waste, which Kingsford converted into uniform charcoal briquettes. Consequently, every suburban patriarch gained access to reliable, smoky fuel that burned evenly and made them feel like outdoor cooking legends. Speaking of legends, wait until you hear about the space-age material that promised to revolutionize barbecue forever, but came with some unexpected side effects. The Aluminum Foil Chronicles. By the mid-1950s, backyard barbecue had evolved into a serious business with specialized weaponry. Charcoal briquettes became the ammunition of choice, delivering smoky flavor that would later make gas grill owners weep with envy. The suburban patriarch's arsenal included chimney starters for perfect coal preparation, long-handled implements that made him feel knightly, and the newest miracle material promising to change everything: aluminum foil. Aluminum foil burst into the backyard scene with superhero-level confidence. It created tidy packets for vegetables, caught drippings in neat disposable pans, and simplified cleanup duties that mysteriously always fell to the household manager. The foil industry marketed it as the modern housemaker's silver bullet, promising convenience without compromise. What could possibly go wrong? Turns out, quite a bit. When aluminum foil hits temperatures over 400 degrees, which every respectable barbecue easily does, It develops microscopic cracks, allowing aluminum particles to leach directly into food. This was especially problematic with acidic foods such as tomatoes or citrus marinades, which basically turned family dinner into unintentional chemistry experiments with side effects nobody was tracking. The health concerns weren't exactly front-page news in the 1950s. While modern researchers debate whether aluminum exposure from foil cooking poses real risks to kidney function or neurological health, most agree that the body can handle small amounts. However, back then, families remained blissfully unaware as they wrapped everything from corn to fish in shiny metal, creating edible origami that might have been slowly accumulating in their systems with each cookout. The irony wasn't lost on barbecue purists who watched techniques such as the Texas crutch, wrapping meat in foil mid-cook to speed tenderization, become standard practice. Here was a cooking method dating back centuries, now being improved by space-age materials carrying their own complications. Yet foil was just one piece of a much larger suburban theater production that was about to unfold. The theater of perfectly orchestrated chaos. Golden Age barbecue wasn't about food. It was performance art disguised as dinner. Suburban backyards transformed into outdoor theaters, complete with string lights that made everything cinematic. Picnic tables sporting red checkered tablecloths manufactured by the millions, and vintage coolers keeping drinks ice cold through marathon sessions that stretched until parents dragged protesting kids inside. These gatherings followed unwritten scripts that everyone somehow knew by heart. The backyard commander ruled his grill with territorial intensity that would make medieval lords jealous, wielding tongs while dispensing unsolicited wisdom about proper coal distribution to anyone within earshot. His Weber position was sacred, part cooking station, part throne room, part socially acceptable excuse to drink beer while appearing productive. Meanwhile, the kitchen general orchestrated supporting cast members with military precision that would impress Pentagon strategists. Potato salad somehow tasted better outdoors, coleslaw miraculously survived July heat without spoiling, and corn on the cob was destined for those aluminum foil pockets that turned every ear into tiny silver presents. The division of labor was crystal clear. Suburban fathers controlled fire and dispensing grilling philosophy, while family matriarchs controlled literally everything else that actually kept families fed and happy. Kids provided the soundtrack, darting between sprinklers and playing elaborate tag games that lasted until streetlights flickered on and mosquitoes declared victory. Their laughter mixed with adult conversations meandering from work complaints to neighborhood gossip, creating that perfect suburban symphony modern noise ordinances have essentially made illegal. Neighbors materialized as if summoned by smoke signals, drawn by the magnetic pull of cold beer and the universal suburban law that barbecue smoke means free food and zero judgment about uninvited appearances. These weren't planned invasions. They were spontaneous celebrations of having nowhere else to be and nothing more pressing than watching meat cook slowly while ice clinked in glasses and the sun took its sweet time setting. The late 1950s added exotic flair when Pacific War veterans brought home tropical culture obsessions that transformed suburban patios into miniature Hawaii. Suddenly, backyard barbecues featured flickering tiki torches, aloha shirts that made accountants feel beachy, and rum-based cocktails turning ordinary Saturday nights into suburban luau's, complete with paper umbrellas and bamboo serving trays that somehow made hamburgers feel mysteriously sophisticated. But this Golden Age paradise was about to face its biggest threat yet, the promise of making everything easier. Before we dive into what killed these traditions, if you're enjoying this nostalgic journey, hit that like button, subscribe for more forgotten American stories, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another trip down memory lane like this one. when fast food met faster living. The decline of backyard barbecue tradition started with the most seductive promise in American consumer culture: making life easier. Gas grills arrived in the 1960s, offering salvation on wheels, promising instant gratification, no waiting 30 minutes for coals to reach perfect heat, no ash cleanup that somehow always happened on windy days, no planning ahead. Just turn a knob, hear that satisfying ignition whoosh, and start cooking. For busy families juggling increasingly hectic schedules and shorter attention spans, it seemed miraculous. Nevertheless, gas was just the opening act in the great convenience invasion. The late 1990s introduced disposable charcoal grills, thin aluminum pans preloaded with briquettes that could be tossed after a single use. Apparently, even cleaning grills had become too much work for modern America. Consequently, the meditative ritual of building perfect fire, the careful coal tending, and the hard-earned satisfaction of masterful heat management became unnecessary relics of slower, more patient times. Pellet grills followed, promising restaurant-quality results with space-age automation that could smoke brisket while families binge-watched Netflix. Electric smokers arrived next, eliminating every bit of guesswork and making barbecue as foolproof as microwave dinners. Each innovation delivered exactly what was promised: faster results, cleaner cooking, and more predictable outcomes. Yet with each convenience upgrade, something intangible and irreplaceable quietly slipped away. Modern suburban life conspired against tradition in ways nobody anticipated. Smaller yards left less room for elaborate outdoor setups that once sprawled across quarter-acre lots. Busier schedules turned weekend barbecues from leisurely afternoon long events into hurried family dinners squeezed between soccer practice and grocery runs. Urban family restrictions banned open flames in many areas, while homeowner association rules regulated everything from grill placement to acceptable patio furniture colors. The tool survived, but the soul didn't. Those string lights became solar-powered and smartphone controlled. Red checkered tablecloths gave way to disposable everything. And those long, lazy afternoons spent tending fire and sharing stories? They became scheduled events requiring calendar invitations and RSVP deadlines. The last coals of summer. Today's suburban landscape tells a different story than those 1957 backyards. Weber kettles still dot patios as metal monuments to simpler times, but they're often flanked by gas grills, seeing more action and pellet smokers doing most of the thinking. Charcoal still smolders on weekends, and aluminum foil still wraps leftovers, but the tradition that once defined American summers has quietly joined other lost arts. Modern barbecue delivers everything it promises: faster cooking, easier cleanup, and more predictable results. Yet somewhere in all that efficiency, we traded ritual for routine, community for convenience, and the sweet satisfaction of earned leisure for instant gratification of push-button solutions. Those 1950s families gathered around Weber kettles with sweating drinks and endless conversations couldn't have known they were living through the golden age of something destined to become a nostalgic memory. They were too busy living it, one perfect summer afternoon at a time, when the biggest decision was whether to flip burgers now or wait another 5 minutes, and either choice felt exactly right. Maybe that's the real tragedy of lost traditions. They don't disappear with fanfare or final ceremonies. They just become memories that smell of charcoal and sound of ice clinking in glasses on summer evenings that stretch forever. Back when time moved slower and nobody was in a hurry to be anywhere else. So here's the million-dollar question. If you could bring back one element of those golden age backyard barbecues, the endless afternoons, the neighborhood drop-ins, or even just the patience to wait for perfect coals, what would it be? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because something tells me we're not the only ones missing those simpler summer days. And if you enjoyed this nostalgic journey through America's lost barbecue traditions, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss another trip down memory lane.